All right, and we are back to close out Group A. I have Animated J alongside our judges, Jest and Trump, ready to watch some light shows. How you guys feeling, Jay?
I'm excited, every time it's always something different. I'm always like, when I think someone can't take it to another level, someone does. So who that person will be, we'll find out. Jess, how you feeling today, man?
Just chilling. It's a nice day, and I'm ready for some finger wiggles.
Hey, that's what's up. That's what's up. How about you, Trump? How you feeling today?
I am looking forward to some light shows. Like you said, it's always something new, and I want to see what's new today.
Exactly. So let's get it. Let's get it started, Teddy.
So today we are going to be taking a look at Pleasure, Kubo, Sidewinder, and closing out Group A will be Pretzel. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start with Pleasure. And that was Pleasure. Animated J, take it away.
That was wild. I mean, it was pretty intense. Like he was going at it. Especially there was certain things I saw that again reminded me of like fingerstyles and the whole tutting community. But looking at it again through a lens, Trump, I know you're looking at his use of space, his difficulty, his concepts. What did you see here?
Um, yeah, I agree with you. Definitely a bit more of a tutty, boxy show.
Hmm.
Um, I liked it. I really liked that style. I think he had some really cool moves. Not my area, but he hit great musicality on it. What is in my area is the fact that he seemed to have run out of moves. It looked like he did a combo, maybe twice. Um, we do want to try and stay away from that. But the use of space was there. I like the technicality and just the moves overall that he used. Very, very clean. But I enjoyed the show. I'm looking forward to seeing more.
Okay, dope, dope. Now, Jess, I know you're looking at the storytelling. Your area is the musicality. So, for me, I mean, again, my perspective, he was going at it. He was going hard. He was showing everything he got. There was this one point where he was like, do do do, or something happened. But
Yeah,
for you, what did you see here?
he had a good sense of using particular techniques to match certain
Mhm.
sounds. So that's one good way to hit musicality in your light show is to just think, okay, what did the sounds look like? And he did that throughout his light show. Now he wasn't perfectly on beat throughout the whole light show, so I wouldn't give him too much credit with the musicality. But what I would say is he was picking his techniques nicely for which sounds he wanted to really accentuate. And he was also using a good variety in the speed spectrum, a lot of speed and a lot of slows, in order to really, again, accentuate the difference between those speed spectrum extremes. So he did a good job. I'm looking forward to seeing him next round.
Dope, dope. Sounds like a pretty solid feedback from both judges. So, sounds good. Teddy?
Moving on, we're going to go from Pleasure and take a look at Kupo. And that was Kupo. Animated J, where you at?
So like to me that was like it was so flashy and bright because I know, I'm not again in fingerstyles, we're not so much focusing on the distance of this whole perspective. So I noticed he was like real close and just flashing, and I think impact, I think that's what it's called, what he was doing. So Trump, can you tell me a bit about this, his level of impacting?
Absolutely. I love impact shows. I've dabbled in it myself a little bit. I'm sure I actually know Jess has too. As far as Kupo's show goes, it really left me wanting a lot more. I liked where he was going. I loved the way it started, and then it just kept starting. Particularly using the mode ones. There wasn't a lot of technicality there. Very basic movements, which you will see with a lot of impacting. But as far as the impacting itself was, just left me wanting more, and I'm hoping we get to see some of that.
Side note: I'd like to make a PSA for everyone to please wipe down your lenses when recording, because that is what will get rid of that puffy glare on your lights.
We are not J.J. Abrams. We do not grade based on your lens flares. Okay, so wipe your lens. I also kind of want to talk a little bit about how that show felt like it was starting, because realistically,
that's a great terminology, Trump.
A good impact light show is typically like 5 minutes long when you get it sitting down. So there's a very real possibility that he just did not have enough time to build up to what he could really do. That being said, there is a specific structure that you're going for when you tell a story: introduction, build up, climax, resolution, and conclusion. And it never felt like he left the introduction build up area, because the techniques that you use when you're impacting, there's a kind of a build up of how you layer those techniques as well. And he only made it to the mode ones, and impactors will know what that means. But realistically, he had so much room to do so much more, and I hope he hits it in round 2.
Well, there you go. There you had it from our judges. So I'm not a judge. I'm just chilling here. I'm enjoying the show. So, Teddy?
Before we go to Trump, did you have something you wanted to add on that?
No, I agree with Josh. Yeah, every point he hit. Josh taught me how to glove. We have same ideas for the most part.
Works out. Awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to Sidewinder. And that was Sidewinder, Animated J.
That was another intense show for me, you know. Like I noticed she was doing a lot of tuts and whips, I believe, and it was like here, like but what did you feel about her grid work and her space, Trump?
Yes and no. The grid work was there. It was good. She hit some good angles. And she used a lot of space. I'm pretty sure she went behind her head too, with one of those flails. That was awesome. You do not have to be doing digits and whatnot to have a technical show. And she definitely hit some good points on the technicality and complexity with me. Cleanliness, not so much. Really got to focus on those tutting angles and make sure that everything is as straight as you can possibly have it. But outside of that, I think Just is good to take it away.
Yeah, so essentially there's two kinds of speed that you can have in a light show.
Mm.
There's the literal speed that you move through space, and then there's also the speed at which you transition through your moves. And she kind of had maxed out both of them the whole light show. So she didn't give us a whole lot of build up because she started with her speed and she went through that same movement speed throughout the whole light show. And that kind of leaves a lot of anticipation on the table. But the other thing that does is it really gives it kind of traps you in this mentality of, okay, I got to move through my moves too, which is kind of a false thing to get stuck in, a bad thing to get stuck in, because the idea here is if you move too fast through your concepts, you're going to end up smudging or smearing your concepts together. And that makes the transitions less crispy, less clean. But the other thing it does is it makes you run out of moves faster. So it end up making your light show more repetitive. And that's, again,
if I may interrupt, Just
sure.
I think even some of us could take this advice. Always go slower than you think you should.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
100%.
And if I can interrupt, I made a post recently about that. I think a lot of beginner artists in general, they rush. You know, it's this, I want to get it. I want to get the movement down. But again, take your time, clean it. The simplest, the most like skilled dancers I see are the ones that make the simplest movements look so nice, you know? So it's the quality over quantity.
And that's where that speed comes into play, because if you rush through too much, you're going to end up smudging through your concepts. You're going to end up cutting off the ending of your concepts. I mean, when you're telling a story, I talked about this with the last guy. You're trying to do your introduction, your build up, your climax, your resolution, and your conclusion in this arc. And every time you throw a combo, it has that same arc on a smaller scale. But when you rush through a combo, it's at this plateau of interest. And so there's no room for accentuation. There's no room for slowing down or speeding up. There's no room for that because you're just blasting through the light show. So slow down. Give yourself some space. Take a breather.
There you go.
That's all there is to it.
There it is. Well, Teddy.
Well, fantastic. Well, we are not going to slow down because we do have one more light show to take a look at today. So we're going to close out Group A with Pretzel. And that was Pretzel, Animated J.
Nah, that's what I'm talking about. Like stuff like this, you know what I'm saying? Like I felt like it was electrical slime. If that even makes any sense whatsoever. It was like electrical
Yes.
slime. Like it shows his comfortability, you know, back to the whole thing of taking your time. How much can you do with the limited, you know what I'm saying, with what you have? What can you do with that? And he was doing it, and he quickened it up, he fasted it, you know, and then he just finishing it. So it was solid. This is one of the, like I say, there's always going to be that one Glover that I just let the judges talk about. So this is that one Glover. So just where do you want to go with this one?
First of all, I want to comment on electrical slime because I'm giggling about that phrase, and I'm gonna let that live rent free in my brain for a while. Um, but this guy, he's a perfect example of what I was talking about last round, with a good example of how to use musicality with both with the choice of techniques that you're using in order to like kind of match the sounds that you're hearing, but also that arc, you know, that interest arc, that dramatic curve that we were talking about, because every combination felt like it was squeezed of every drop of tension that it could before it moved on to the next trick or combination or technique. And the beauty of it is he gave each combo room to breathe. He ended and began each combo very cleanly and concisely. Things were placed perfectly. Trump, go ahead and talk about his techniques because I want to start.
Yeah, for sure, man. Exactly, like feeding right off of what you said. Every single move went right into the next one, to where it's so clear each part at the same time they're all just melted together, and you can't. It's
That show was one long move.
it was awesome seeing his hand independence too, because my man's would be doing one thing with his other hand and doing something completely different, you know. And he did that
Hand
with
independence,
just
if I can just
yeah,
interject, is just like that cherry on top, because it really takes a shallow move pool and makes that move pool into a toolbox instead.
yeah.
Because if you can
It's
rub your tummy and
huge.
pat your head at the same time, all of the
That's hot.
sudden you've got twice as many move combinations that you can come up with, because you're no longer just having to do a finger roll with both hands. You can do connections for days.
I think we
So,
could both go on. I don't have any real complaints. I think if I had to ask Scott to do anything more, just throw more shows. Right.
yeah, I mean, he
not
ended
good.
a little early for my taste. I mean,
I could watch it again and
but
nitpick,
yeah,
but
you know,
yeah,
I just
he's not
want
getting
more.
a perfect
So
score.
can't
There's room
complain
for
about wanting
improvement.
more.
And I'm not a judge, but I would just like to see something more risk taking. Like he seemed like he was confident and comfortable.
He was comfortable.
Now push it. Do something that you are my like, whoa, you know.
This is round one, so
Man's is warming up. He's got room.
That's true. Well, there you go. There we have it, Teddy.
All right, so that's going to do it for Group A Round 1 light shows. But before we go, we do have one more piece, and that's going to be Animated J's favorite piece of this whole bit, which is our round table discussion. So Animated J, what is our round table topic for today?
So the topic is the importance of storytelling.
Awesome. Well, if you're watching us on Facebook or Instagram, then go ahead and just open up the YouTube app or go to the link in our bio, or however you want to head over to our YouTube and check out the roundtable. And if you're on YouTube, just go to the profile and click the next video. But anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Just